want to talk about something that is really important to me. It is called committing to the bit.
Committing to the bit, yes.
For those of you who don't know, a bit is a term or phrase used in comedy. It's essentially when you make a long form joke, as in you're not saying a one-liner. It's something that you're doing for a period of time, and it's funny the whole time.
Yeah.
For those of you who know Conan O'Brien, I think he's probably the king of bits. And committing to the bit means no matter how off the rails or stupid it gets, you commit to it.
Makes sense.
And this past week, I committed to a bit. One of my coworkers, his mom is British, and we were talking about lordship and how difficult it is to become a lord. And during our conversation I was having with this coworker, I came across a website where you can become a lord for, it depends on how much land you're buying in Scotland.
Right.
I'm a lord. And so I bought 1 square foot of land in Scotland, and I became a lord this past week because I was committing to the bit.
Very well. So you are officially a lord.
I'm officially a lord. On my screen, I have Lord Topher. That's not my real name. I sent you the certificates that I got for buying this land.
Yeah,
It's very official. I did not fill out the paperwork properly, so my name is on there twice. But I am a lord now, and I demand all of our listeners to refer to me as Lord Topher from here on out.
Right, and give tribute. They have to give tribute to the Lord.
Have to give tribute.
Right? That's just how it works.
As I was doing this at work, I told everyone, I go, yeah, I'm a lord now. And everyone at work has been calling me Lord.
You're kidding me.
No, they go, my lord.
Yeah, well, you gotta get them used to, especially if you're climbing up the ladder. They gotta get used to calling you sir, and it's a good psychological operation you got going there.
Yeah, and like almost immediately after this was official, I texted you and I told you what I had done. And your first question, I think, was, can you get diplomatic immunity? And you did some further research, and it turns out I can't.
No, too bad. That would have been great, because we are going to discuss some things. I guess this subject is getting spicy with the government, apparently. So it would be nice to get some diplomatic immunity.
But like I said before the show, I think it's one of those things. If I could throw that, if I'm ever in trouble, I could throw that at the cops or whoever's arresting me, and it would they would have to look it up and realize it's true, and then realize what they could do to me, and that'll give me time to, get a lawyer or whatever.
Right. I mean, you never know. Some cop might believe it. Might be like, all right, fine. I don't want to get in trouble here. Please go on your way.
Yeah, you never know. It's
yeah. It depends who you get.
It is really fun. Shoot, should we plug the website?
If you want. What is it? A Scottish?
I'm pulling it up on my phone because I know I sent you the website.
Yeah, you definitely sent me the website. Oh, here it is.
So like I said, I'm a lord in Scotland. And
Scotland titles. Scotlandtitles.com.
And this is in Blaredam.
Blaredam, which is a forest, we found out.
Yeah. Scotland Titles is the name of the website. And they do it's actually a really cool thing, because the whole point, they're trying to preserve national land in Scotland, kind of like preserving land, like the equivalent is
that's smart.
National parks here in the United States. So it is for a good cause. And when you buy the land, they encourage you to visit. If you buy enough land, you can plant trees, and I mean it's really cool.
That's cool. So when you go visit, is there a sign there that says this is for Lord?
No, I doubt it. I mean, you don't go to a national park and see signs
like flags.
This person owns. Yeah,
right. That'd be ridiculous.
That would be ridiculous.
It's probably on the computer then. They'll probably show you here's the plan of the forest,
the square,
and here's your tiny square, right there.
Yeah, great.
So wait, Is that like forever? I didn't read the details. Or is it like a 99-year lease kind of thing?
I didn't look into that. I was just, once I got the title, I stopped looking into details.
Yeah, let's get on with it, Lord Topher.
Yeah. Okay. So we're
happy Easter, everyone.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. Adam and I celebrated Easter with our family yesterday.
That's right.
And so I kind of forget that it's Easter today. But yes, happy Easter, everyone. He has risen.
He has risen. Christ
what
is
was
king.
the other thing your mom said?
Christ is king.
Christ is king. It's fitting that it's Easter and we're talking about a devout Christian today.
Yeah. That was completely by luck, but that was not planned.
It's one of those things where when you started, this kind of happens a lot to us.
Yeah.
We pick a UFO topic, and then for whatever reason, it comes out in the news.
Bizarre.
Immediately, like at the same time. I think Antarctica was the last time this happened, where we're going to talk about Antarctica next week, and then like all of these news articles within the next couple of days were like, oh, Alaska. Antarctica. Yeah, did I say Alaska first?
You did say Alaska first.
Sorry, I meant Antarctica. They're
the other pole.
They're the same thing. They're both big, snowy, and mostly unknown. I did mean Antarctica.
Right.
But this is episode 115 of the UAP podcast, Uncovering Anomalies Podcast.
That's what we do.
That is I Have a Need to Know, Adam.
What up, everyone?
And I am Lord Topher.
Lord Topher. Oh no, that's not Scottish. I can't. Lord.
I can't do a Scottish accent. I can't do European. Well, I can do a really offensive like
Russian. You can do a Russian one.
Oh, I can do Russian, but this is I don't know, like a German accent, maybe.
German? Yeah, that sounds like it. Yeah, or
very offensive.
Or Swedish. No, not
Swedish. Northern Europe. It's very offensive.
Ferdy. No, wait.
That's Norwegian. I have no
Norwegian.
idea.
Okay.
I'm totally kidding. Anyway, today,
our European audience are probably just
they shut it off.
Very, very sorry.
We're sorry. I mean, listen, we're dumb Americans. My entire knowledge of Europe is based on stereotypes, so I apologize.
Man, stereotypes, that's why stereotypes are great, because it generalizes. I mean, it's how our brains work. And that's how we categorize things. It doesn't mean everyone's like that.
When you're making jokes based on stereotypes and you're doing it out of love, I don't think it's offensive.
Exactly. No. Yeah. They're great, man. I grew up like that. We all made fun of each other's heritage. I mean, it's just funny. I mean, now everyone's too like uptight about that. But
I've mentioned this before on the show. I grew up in Montana, and there was only a couple black kids in my high school, but they would all call me names I can't repeat on here. Because they knew I was part Arab. They'd call me sand,
right.
Oil baron or raghead. And
towelhead,
it was
towelhead's another
towelhead,
yeah. Camel jockey.
Yeah, I forgot about that one. And it was never out of it was never out of a place of anger or like they were mean to me. It was just kind of a joke.
Obviously
you
can always get them back too.
I mean,
everyone's easy. Everyone's an easy target.
Yeah,
really.
And it was never out of a place of hate or anger. It was just it was a joke. I mean, it was funny.
Yeah. No, I get it.
Yeah,
it is funny.
So today, go ahead.
No, well, I was going to say, today you brought this up last week. I had no idea about this case at all.
So this is the abduction case of Betty Andreasson. I don't know why the name Betty has shown up so many times in alien abductions. That's kind of a fun little quirk there. Betty Andreasson, she was a fundamentalist Christian, very serious woman. She had many kids. We're going to cover it in the episode. She was straight-laced, as in she was not on drugs. She was not drinking. But she had the trippiest abduction that was tied into her religion of all time. It is a very fun roller coaster here. We're going to go through a lot. I mean, it's wild. So put on
and Yeah, and it's really, I mean, J. Allen Hynek was part of this. I mean, really credible researchers
Yeah. People
researched
took
it.
this incredibly seriously.
Yeah, yeah.
And this was when I first read about this case, this is what put me down the path of our human brain is an antenna, and
Hmm.
when you get abducted by aliens, you are half the phenomena. What you
Right.
see, what you experience,
Is what you
part of
believe,
it is
basically.
coming from your
Right,
consciousness.
right. Yeah, crazy
Um,
stuff.
because she was, like I said, extremely religious, and she had a very religious experience. And overall, it was a good experience for her. She didn't come out of it freaked out and terrified.
Right, which is
Kind
not
of.
normal. Which is not normal. Again, because it went through her consciousness and her outlook and perspectives on life. So because she's just a kind, probably very loving person, it's how she experienced it.
Yeah, I mean, you think about so Betty and Barney Hill, they had a terrifying experience.
Yeah,
A
especially
lot of
Barney.
it, think it was due to their interracial marriage at a time where that
Right,
was not okay, and
already paranoid. Yeah.
yeah. Betty Andreasson, she was religious, and she had a religious experience, and that it wasn't. I mean, it was scary. There's parts of this where it's going to sound really creepy, and I'm going to make it as creepy as possible because I love it.
Yeah, we like creepy.
But she came out of it thinking she had a religious experience, and
Wow.
and
Well, I mean,
this is
there is a
sorry,
truth in that. I
really
mean,
really quick, and this is one of the few UFO abduction cases where there are other witnesses, other people in her
family
family,
members.
other people, yeah, family members, witnessed stuff that could be corroborated, by her story. It's crazy, man. This is a
Yeah,
good
it
one.
is crazy. All right, so let's listen to some music before we
Yeah.
let's launch episode 115.
Traveling late all the way through the night. Nothing but darkness on your left and right. But far ahead and high above there is a light. Tell me, what do you see? What do you feel? It makes no sound and you think this can't be real. But through the static the radio plays, two voices speak upon the airwaves. It's the Uncovering Anomalies Podcast playing in your head. It's a brand new episode every week. That's what they said. Not sure now where you're going to, but no, Adam and Topher will guide you. Tune in every week for a new sneak peek into conspiracies, aliens, and government leaks. UAP, the podcast, where the truth is told and secrets never last.
All right, that's a nice one. You need to come up with a new song.
I know I screwed up. I told you last week I was going to make a new song, and I didn't. But man, those songs are so good anyway.
They are, yes, they are well written.
So most of this, I would say, most of this comes from a book called The Andreasson Affair, and I wish I
Yep.
still had my bookshelf because I can't remember who wrote it. Does it say here really quick?
Publication came out in the 70s. Let's see what this thinks too.
Yeah, the book came out in the 70s. It has a really
Raymond.
good.
Oh, Fowler. There's an interview with him too. We have.
Oh, good. So Raymond Fowler wrote the book. It came out in the 70s. This abduction happened in the 60s, and I think the forward is from J. Allen Hynek, right?
Yeah. Yes. Exactly.
He originally put her story because in the 60s, all these UFO researchers were reaching out to the public and saying, hey, if you've been abducted by aliens, if you've seen UFOs, write to us and let us know. And he had originally put this in the crank pile and didn't believe it. And then I don't remember how it happened, but he ended up going back to it and doing more research. and then realizing, oh God, something happened to this woman.
Wow. Yeah, that's crazy. I mean, especially that was. I wonder why. Who it was? I guess it was after Betty and Barney Hill, but
Yeah.
way after.
Well, I don't think it was. I mean, Betty and Barney Hill was also in the 60s.
In the 60s, yeah.
But this was also her abduction happened in the 60s. The book
right. So, but Hynek, when did he ask? Was that in the 70s? Probably.
Oh, that's really good. That's actually a really good question.
What? I mean, where did his interest come from?
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe we'll uncover that.
And did he leave? He must have left Project Blue Book or left the government, right?
Yeah.
He started NICAP or something.
Something like that. He was a busy guy.
So
here we go. The abduction of Betty Andreasson Luca is considered to be one of the most documented cases in the history of ufology. The woman from Massachusetts, I said Pennsylvania yesterday when I was talking about it, so it was Massachusetts. She experienced multiple abductions, and her case is widely studied by UFO researchers. It became popular after the publication of the best-selling novel The Andreasson Affair, which came out in the late 1970s. She attended many radio shows and TV interviews where she discussed her encounter with gray aliens and even drew sketches of the incident. The sketches are really cool. I hope they show up in this article.
I think so, yeah.
I mean, it's not like she's not an artist, but they're cool enough where you're like, whoa.
Yeah.
Betty Andreasson was born on January 7th, 1937 to Waino and Ava Aho. She went to school in Westminster and Gardner, Massachusetts, and had a great interest in art since childhood, which later became her passion. Betty married twice, and with her first husband, she gave birth to 7 children.
Damn!
She met her second husband, Bob Luca, in 1977, and that's kind of where her story falls apart. Luca was the one I was telling you before the show. He's the one that only got abducted by aliens when he was blackout drunk.
I think, I mean, so they met after her experience, obviously, at 77. So maybe he tried to like have something in common with her or something.
That's if I remember the story correctly, that's exactly what happened. This story came out before she married Bob Luca, and then when I believe she met Bob Luca at like a UFO.
That makes sense.
Like what's it called?
Conference. A
UFO
conference.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So here it is. According to the official reports, on the evening of January 25th, 1967, Betty was at home with her 7 children and parents. Around 6:30 p.m., she was busy in the kitchen when the lights in the house started blinking strangely. Soon after it, the kitchen's window was hit by a reddish light beam, and the whole house went out of electricity. In the Andreasson Affair, I think they say it's a pink light, but reddish is close enough. The children got terrified with the scene, and Betty tried to calm them down. Her father looked out to find the source of the light and saw 5 strange-looking humanoid creatures walking right towards the house.
Oh my God.
Before he could understand the situation, the beings walked inside the house through the door, which put the whole family in a state of shock. And when I say through the door, I mean literally through the door. If I'm remembering this correctly, the door did not open. They walked through the door.
I mean, there's lots of encounters, in like biblical encounters and religious encounters. If that's what angels do, they walk through walls, so there's that.
Well, it's a very interesting thing that you bring up, angels, because that's going to come up here in the story. One creature went to Betty's father while the other 4 came to her, and one of them started to talk with her telepathically. The one who made the telepathic contact with Betty was about 5 feet tall, while the others were shorter than him.
5 feet. He's pretty tall for a gray.
Yeah. He was the leader, though. He was tall, so they made him the leader.
Oh, all right.
Just like we do in real life. Look at LeBron James.
Exactly. Look at CEO.
Yeah. The description by the witnesses was similar to the modern illustration of gray aliens. They only had slits on their mouth, 3 fingers on one hand, and wore blue-colored one-piece suit.
There's the blue-colored suit.
We talked about this during Betty and Barney Hill. Aliens have changed throughout the years. Originally, they did wear clothes. Nowadays, aliens are completely nude. They've changed because again, we bring in half the phenomena, right?
Yep. Yeah.
So Betty was frightened, but at the same time, she felt calm by the friendly nature of the beings. They did not harm any member of the family and even released her daughter from a state of unawareness. So one thing that's kind of glossed over here in this article is when the aliens came in, they put everyone into a trance. Everyone just shut down.
Just stood there and stared.
Yeah. Then she was taken outside and boarded on their saucer-shaped craft with a small. Oh, they skipped the whole thing. Oh man, they're glossing over a lot of stuff here. Okay, so when they first came in, she believed they were angels, and she started cooking them beef because you feed strangers.
She's not in the trance anymore. Is that what you're saying? Is everyone
Betty,
else still in the trance?
As far as I can tell, Betty was never put into a trance, not until much later.
Maybe if they felt fear, they put people who are in fear into a trance just to like control them so they don't, I don't know, lash out or do something stupid.
Yeah.
And maybe she didn't have fear and they kept her awake.
So the story goes, and this is from the Andreasson affair, they came into the house. She thought they were angels, and she started cooking them food because when strangers come into your house,
that's what you do.
And they're angels, that's what you do.
Yeah. At least that's what the lore says. You know, I mean, like people in the desert and stuff, they have stories of angels visiting. Like, so that's why they're good to any visitor. You just become a really good host because you never know if that person is an angel. At least that's the lore.
Yeah. But yeah, she tried cooking them food. They freaked out when they saw she was cooking beef.
You think they'll like cows, right?
But they wanted hard truth. They wanted truth tested by fire, if I remember correctly from the book. What they were looking for.
I think I saw that here somewhere. Maybe it's down below. Yeah, something about tested by fire.
What they were looking for was her Bible. Anyway, so they even released her daughter from a state of unawareness. Then she was taken outside and boarded on their saucer-shaped craft. This is Betty, with a small dome that was standing in the backyard. After that, the ship went up in the air and merged with the mothership, where Betty went through medical tests and was under the effects of strange equipment. Later, she was taken to some strange place where she felt much pain, which, according to her, was a spiritual experience. Yeah, maybe this is just a summary, and they're going to get into details in just a bit.
Maybe.
So these are some of her drawings here.
1950. So I guess is when she was young, maybe younger.
Yeah, she saw this earlier.
Hovering craft in gray, misty atmosphere. Top moved, independent from bottom.
In opposing direction.
Yeah, in opposing direction. Huh. Interesting. 1967. Looks like a different. I mean, similar.
It's
craft,
close. It's close enough where I think if you're drawing something from 1950, and then 17 years later, when you're drawing something that you see up close, you know, there's going to be a little bit of a difference. But I think it's essentially the same craft.
Silver gray. Top can. What is that? Reuse upward.
Yeah, I can read that.
Yeah.
Later that night, Betty was returned home at 10:40 p.m. and found her family still in a frozen state where one of the aliens was watching them in her absence.
Oh.
Then the family was put to bed by beings and the aliens left. What's more, she forgot her abduction until undergoing hypnotherapy in later years. Yeah, that's one of the things is it's talked about in the book. She woke up the next morning feeling great and cooked her family a huge breakfast.
Huh.
Betty said in some of her interviews that the creatures were angelic in nature but not biblical. She is a religious person, but only had some school education and did not understand much about UFOs. Only after this bizarre experience, she understood that whatever she'd experienced that night was much like a UFO abduction. So for many years, she just believed, well, she didn't remember any of this.
Right.
She thought she had been visited by angels. I mean, that's, you know, what I keep saying.
Yeah. If you remember that one, I think we've talked about this many times, from American Cosmic Pasulka, because she has access to the files in the Vatican. She said that she went, and there are experiences there that just didn't conform to Catholicism, you know, the experience. But when she looked into it, she goes, that's basically a UFO, an alien abduction. You know, the being looked like a gray as well. They used needles. So it's apparently been happening for a long time.
I would love to do an episode on historical UFOs.
Yeah.
And talk about some of the crazy things. Like, you know, there's a
1600s, 1400s.
Great story about the Romans. I think they're about to fight a battle and a glowing fiery chariot came down from the sky.
Yeah. Alexander too. Alexander the Great.
Constantinople, who we were talking about recently.
Yeah.
So in 1975, Dr. J. Allen Hynek posted an ad in the newspaper to learn more about the abduction experiences and asked help from the common people. Well,
Yeah.
Betty answered this ad by sending a letter, but it was rejected due to its unusual details. Yeah, I mean, we're going to get into those details, and they are very unusual. It was only in 1977 when her case was deeply investigated by the experts, including the solar physicist, an electronics engineer, an aerospace engineer, a telecommunications specialist, and a UFO investigator. Her case was first investigated by Jules Vaillancourt, Mutual
MUFON.
UFO Network, MUFON. I said Muchon. MUFON investigator in 1977. He said, "What I found most amazing about Betty was her ability to draw. The detail of the spacecraft and the being she drew under hypnosis were such that it made me really believe there was something to this." He also added that the detective who had given a psychological stress evaluation to Betty and her daughter believed in her story. She even spoke the language of the aliens under hypnosis. I don't remember that part. That's
What?
really cool.
Wow.
Her case investigation continued for 12 months, where she and her daughter had gone through hypnosis sessions, lie detector tests, and a psychiatric interview. Both mother and daughter passed them with a genuine reaction. Author and UFO researcher Raymond Fowler wrote 5 books on her UFO experiences that
really?
include the famous The Andreasson Affairs series. Oh, I didn't read any of the other ones. I just read the first one.
5 books. Damn, there's that much material?
She gets re-abducted over and over again.
Oh, okay.
During one of her hypnotic regression sessions, she remembered one of the early abductions that occurred to her in her childhood. It took place in 1950 when she was taken from her home into a spacecraft as usual. But this time, the craft was flying towards an ocean or a sea. Oh, weird. Where have we heard that before?
Yeah, I know, right? Always over the ocean or sea.
She was terrified that the craft would crash into the water, but the ship submerged into the water and entered into kind of a tunnel.
Oh, shit.
Betty could see everything underwater as the place was filled with light. What she said next under hypnosis is so bizarre that it even gave a chill to Fowler.
Look at this image. So it's like different races of beings and of humans, I mean.
Of humans that have been taken.
Oh, dude.
Oh, it's really, this article really skimmed on the first abduction.
I'm sure it's going to skim. Yeah, it's a summary.
She saw people from all eras, different races, encased in the glass container. Fowler called it the Museum of Time. Betty said that the people in the container were in old-fashioned clothes, and there were uncountable cubicles with humans inside at that underwater base.
Are you kidding me? It's like they're doing. We probably have the same thing.
Yeah. Fowler wrote that when he listened to her in one of the regression session recordings, his mind blew up as he found it difficult to believe. He said, "A cold chill coursed through my body when Betty was describing people and animals enclosed in glassy cubicles in an icy cavern."
What? That is so bizarre. And this is her second husband, Luca.
Yeah. You wanna take it from here?
Yeah, Betty traveled a lot across the country, attending numerous TV interviews and radio shows and lecturing about her UFO experiences. She and her husband, Bob Luca, had been unsettled for many years until 1995 when they moved to Virginia. They lived in Virginia for 5 years and then moved to Florida. She died. Is that all we have here?
Yeah. Let's find do we have time to find a different article?
We have an interview with her.
Yeah, but I really want to cover that first abduction case.
Yeah.
It's essentially I'm looking for a summary of the Andreasson affair, the first book.
Well, we got a lot of silence now here.
Well, we can always pause.
All right. We're back.
All right. So forget that last 30 seconds of silence. Didn't happen. So this is an article we found that kind of sums up the first abduction. You know what? I read the whole last article. Can you keep going?
Yeah. Is it okay we start from here?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah. So that last article we read basically summed up Betty's life very, very summed up. But this goes a little bit more into detail about that first abduction, which is the most fun.
So on that evening, Betty Andreasson, was at her Highland Avenue home with her 7 children and her parents, Wayno and Eva Aho. Her husband, James, was in the hospital recovering from injuries suffered in a pre-Christmas automobile accident, and because of it, the family had been thrown into a bit of disarray. Sometime around 6:30 that evening, there was a power failure in that section of South Ashburnham, as the lights flickered and then went out altogether. Betty had been cleaning up in the kitchen at the rear of the house while the 7 children and their grandparents watched TV in the living room to the front. While the sudden darkness caused the children to become startled, Betty ran into the living room as a reddish-orange light began to beam through the kitchen window. Her father, Wayno, looked out to try to see where the unusual light was coming from. So this also says reddish.
Yeah,
reddish-orange instead
I
of pink.
remember
Yeah.
it being pink. Maybe I just misremembered that part.
According to various reports, Wayno was shocked to see 5 unusual-looking beings described as short gray humanoids with large pear-shaped heads and wide eyes move toward the home in a hopping motion. Oh, yeah. Always hopping or like skating.
Sliding,
yeah. Because of the misty conditions and the dense fog, the flashing lights were likely not visible to people in neighboring houses. There were no other reports of the unusual activity from anyone who lived nearby.
So again, if you believe the theory that I brought up earlier that, you're half the phenomena when you get abducted, I think it's entirely possible that no one else would be able to see what was going on in the Andreasson household.
Yeah, that's possible. So the website, the Betty Andreasson Encounter Alien Abduction, noted that the alien beings walked right through the wooden door of the kitchen. One of them went to Wayno, while the other 4 began engaging in telepathic communication with Betty. The beings wore blue coveralls that were gathered by a wide belt and featured a logo of a bird on the sleeves.
Remember that detail, folks.
Each hand bore 3 fingers, and in place of their mouth was a narrow slit that never moved. The beings were able to communicate through their minds.
Thought transference, like Barney Hill said.
Yeah. The Andreasson family was placed into suspended animation, while Betty was carried off to a waiting craft outside, which rested in a sloping field in her backyard. Imagine that, in your backyard.
Ugh.
Crazy how they choose. She later reported that after being escorted aboard the spacecraft, it joined a mother craft to transport her to some strange, unearthly place. Upon arriving there, she underwent an extensive examination, which included the removal of a tiny object from her nostril, indicating that abductors inserted implants into their captives. The entire ordeal would later be described by Betty as a kind of religious experience. Some 4 hours later, she was returned to her home with her family still in the state of suspended animation. Her 11-year-old daughter, Becky, was released from the state to show her that her family was safe, and that would play an important role in the investigation years later. During the abduction, Betty had been hypnotized by the aliens so that she would not recall any of her experiences until a later date. During her life, she had occasions of other paranormal experiences that she had also kept to herself for many years.
God, please go into detail.
In August of 1977, Betty read. So no, see, it's the same, right?
Oh, that's so frustrating. So this has been a tough episode so far, huh? One of our tough.
Kind
of. We're trying to dig in and hear the full story. Articles are kind of summing up all 5 of the books. I'm more interested in the first book, her first abduction, not truly her first.
Right. The one that she first remembered.
Yes. So here is a interview from the woman herself talking about her 1967 abduction.
Okay, I want to get back to your story now. They examined you. Obviously, you were in some pain, or at least you were starting to show signs of fear then. What did they do after they had examined you?
Well, after they had examined me, they took me back to the cubicle where they told me to change into my regular clothes. And from there, I was escorted into this room that appeared like a Quonset hut-type room, half cylindrical. And within it were 8 glass-like chairs. And they sat me down in the one of the chairs to the right, and this hood, glass-like hood, came down, and I could hear it click around me, and then I felt very cold, as if I was freezing, and it seemed as if I was there for a very long time. And from there, I was taken and put into another chair to the left, and again, this glass-like hood came down and sealed around me, and I could hear the snap, and they also put some tubes in my nose, and I could hear it as they put them into the glass, I could hear it seal, and also a tube for my mouth, and they told me to keep my eyes closed, and they gave me this reddish color liquid to take, and it tasted very sweet. I felt very relaxed from it. And meanwhile, this gray liquid fell down, was falling on my head, and it was filling up in the bottom of the chair. And when it was filled, it vibrated like a whirlpool around about me. And from there, they drained that out, took the breathing tubes out, and set me on this track where one being was in front of me and one being was in back of me. And at this point, they had their different uniform. It was a sort of a shiny aluminum type uniform, and they put two black hoods on their heads. And we went out of this room into a very dark black tunnel. It seemed as if it was chipped out of stone, and there were other entrances. I could tell because their uniform sent off like a bright light, and I could see like darker holes off to the sides. And
did you start thinking that maybe these weren't angels after all at this point?
I didn't know what it was. I really didn't know.
But the term alien still didn't.
No.
So wait, they drained fluid from her brain?
No. They put her in a goo chair, baby.
Okay, all right.
So
she was
they
like
put her-
she was like suspended in something.
She was, and this is, I think, proof of interdimensional travel. They probably figured that out after countless tests of how to get humans from one place to another.
Yeah, right.
So they put her in it was a glass chair, and like the top came down and she was sealed into the chair, right?
Right.
And it filled up with a black syrupy liquid that tasted good. That was
yeah, she's okay, and she said she felt calm.
Yeah, calmed her down.
And then then she saw the beings, and they put cloaks over their heads.
Yes, yeah, she gets
What?
Dude, no, it gets nuts. So she's talking about the black tunnel now, and in the book she talks about how it's like a long black tunnel, and there's like, it looks like portal doors on either side of the tunnel, but they have a place in mind where they want to take her.
All right,
and I think she's about to talk
crazy
about the green world.
Okay.
That's your mind.
I wasn't.
Yeah.
You
weren't in that frame of mind, obviously.
No, I wasn't aware of UFOs.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
So anyway, I was taken through this tunnel, and we were coming up to a mirror, and I thought we were going to crash right through the mirror, and instead we passed just like we passed through the wood in my home. And we came into this red atmosphere, and in this red atmosphere, there was no vegetation. There were just large buildings with square windows, and there were these strange creature-like beings having like
Hold on,
two
pause it really
stalks for a head.
Yeah.
Okay, so I apologize for saying green world. She went to red world. She went to
Okay.
red world first.
Yeah.
And what she's talking about right now, you might want to back up 10 seconds because I interrupted her. She saw, this is what I was telling you yesterday when I was excitedly explaining to you what she saw. This is like a red world that, a bunch of abandoned buildings, but they were covered in these things like lemurs. They had no heads. It was just bodies with eyes on stalks.
Wow, man, it's like a dream world. That's
Yeah.
bizarre, really bizarre.
With very large eyes on the end of them. And they were crawling all over the walls and in and out of the windows and all over the place. And as I said, the two beings had hoods, these black hoods on, and evidently they thought that my head felt very heavy. Evidently they thought my black hair was covering enough for me that I,
Didn't need anything else.
So we passed through this area into a green atmosphere, and it was beautiful. It was just fantastically beautiful. There were things there I can't even describe today. They, nothing that I could relate to in this in planet Earth. And so I saw different things there. A dome city.
This was obviously their planet then?
No, this was not their planet. They told me that this was the high place. The highest place.
All right.
They had told me their planet, the name of their planet, but I couldn't pronounce it. There was too many consonants in it. I've tried.
Did they say it was in this galaxy or in another, or
they gave some writings, but I'm not really aware of what they are. I just passed them on into the investigators. And in this high place, this green atmosphere was just beautiful. And I came up to some crystals that were just hanging in midair, and I did become fearful. I wanted to go back at that point because it was awesome, and they just wouldn't go along with my request, and we kept on going until we came to this area where this large bird stood, and the beings just got off the track, and I was left there alone where this huge bird was, and it was alive, and there was light in back of it, just radiating, kept on radiating, and I kept getting hotter and hotter and hotter, and these sparks of gold were flying around in front of me, and I felt like I was being consumed by fire. And at that point, I must have passed out or something, because the next time I looked, the bird was gone, and there was a pile of ashes there, and out of these pile of ashes, a large gray worm appeared. And then from the side, a voice spoke to me, a very loud voice, and called my name twice and said, "You have seen and you have heard. Do you understand?" And I said, I don't know. I don't understand. I don't even know why I was there. And then the voice talked with me and reassured me that everything was all right, that some of the pain that I experienced was because of my fear. And I just felt better. I felt elated, and joy filled me. I felt very happy at that particular point. And then the voice told me I would have to return, and I was taken back by the being to Earth. Yes.
So what was the purpose of that then? All right, so she goes, she witnesses this phoenix-like being, right? It's a bird that's burning. It goes into ashes, exactly like Phoenix, right? And she says a womb comes out of that, and that she goes, all right, you've seen, you've heard, whatever. Now go back.
Yeah,
I mean,
this is the alien thing. They don't give you any answers. They give you a bunch of crazy stuff. I mean, look at Betty and Barney Hill. She was shown a map that wasn't proven for a number of years after. They stuck a huge needle in her stomach for a pregnancy test, and then they just leave them and tell them to go home. This is in the alien agenda. This is in their script that they have.
Right, like don't reveal everything. Just be weird.
Yeah.
There's that researcher Archaics. I think we've played him before but he's a great researcher, and he talks about this Phoenix event that happens every 10, 12,000 years to reset Earth. So it's weird that there's something like they calls it the Phoenix.
So once again, listening to this interview, we're listening to a summary. I highly, highly encourage everyone to go listen to or read the Andreasson affair. There are so many more weird details in there. She saw pyramids. She saw a sphinx that she couldn't really describe. This phoenix
is in that green world, right?
Yeah, this phoenix and or worm. She asks if it's Jesus because she's a fundamental.
Right.
She's a Christian.
Yeah.
And the thing just says, "I am who you say I am." Like giving a bunch of vague answers and details. I mean, I wish we could find articles or interviews that do the book justice. Go read the book. It's an easy read. It's a fun read. It's not very long.
Yeah, let's continue. Let's see what else she says.
I believe they also gave you a book.
Yes, is that true? There was an exchange of the Bible, and they passed me a blue book, which they said I could have for 10 days and to look within it and grasp as much as I could possibly grasp. And I was not to show it to anyone. However, I did show my daughter, Becky, which I shouldn't have. And when she put her hand on it, her hand sort of glowed. And after 9 or 10 days, the book was gone.
Disappeared, just in there. Mr. Fowler, have you heard any stories similar?
Well, what was in there? What was in the book? Do they ever describe, or is she not allowed to say?
I don't think, if I remember, I don't think I can. I think if I remember correctly, she couldn't read it, but essentially it was her daughter's Bible, and the aliens put several more pages into the Bible.
Oh, they added to it.
And I don't think she could read the pages. I think she has drawings of what was on those pages, but and I do think I'm remembering right. It was her daughter's Bible.
Yeah, she said something like that. And when her daughter touched it, then she said it glowed.
Yeah.
Are they like trying to one up us in a way, where they're like, oh, well, they have religious books. Let's show them we have a religious book. You know what I mean?
So this ties into, again, this is you're half the phenomena, right? Aliens can't fully communicate. They can't tell us exactly what they're trying to say because they can't. We're half the antenna, right? And so they're doing their best to communicate with us with the knowledge that we as people have, and our knowledge is limited, right? We've only been to this planet. We've only lived one life.
Right. And a lot of people take, religious books seriously. So maybe that also
Right.
Conveys that message, that this is a serious message.
Yeah, exactly.
But too bad she couldn't read it.
Yeah.
Or at least get some of the information telepathically or something.
But I mean, again, so like it's kind of like us communicating with a cat or a dog, right? Like we can say, oh, hey, you hungry? You want some food? And the dog or cat will know what that means. If you ask a dog or a cat, hey, how you feeling today? They, that you can't. You're not going to get an answer there.
Right.
So I think it's kind of like that. It's just higher life beings communicating with lower life beings. The us being the lower life beings.
So bizarre, man.
Yeah.
All right. Let's see what else she says.
Everything that Betty has said has a similar parallel to other cases, except the anomaly, I guess would call it, of the bird experience.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't really know what to make about the bird experience. The only thing that relates internally with a bird is that these aliens had a similar bird insignia or symbol on their shoulders, and whether this was an induced hallucination, an object lesson that was set up, I really don't know. You almost could draw an analogy to a South Sea Islander, for example, who drifted out to sea and was out to sea for many, many days in his canoe, and he sees this huge aircraft carrier coming, and they send a small boat, they pick him up, they bring him back, they give him a physical examination, they put him in the hospital, and then when he's resuscitated, they bring him to the day room, and he sees movies, he sees TV, all these modern inventions. Then they take a helicopter, they bring him back, they dump him on the beach, and he goes back and tries to relate this whole thing in terms of his own religion, his philosophy, within a limited, people would think he was probably crazy.
About the book, how much do you remember? They asked you to grasp what you could. What was in it that you remember?
Well, the first 3 pages were very bright light. There were approximately 40 pages. It was very thin paper. The writings on it, there were symbols, there were numbers, there was strange writing, there were pictures of the workings of the craft. There were just so many different things, and they've come forth, and I just handed them to the investigators for them. I don't know what they are.
In other words, you handed the notes that you took on it, or
the different things that have been revealed to me.
Yeah.
I've just passed the writings and things over to the investigators. Also, my daughter Becky is able to write the same strange writing that was in the book, and at a few occasions I have been able to too. And it is not like automatic writing where something takes hold of her hand. She's just able to sit down and she writes them. She has page after page of this particular stuff.
It's incredible. Unfortunately, we are about out of time. We are out of time, but I must ask you, if they were to come back, would you go with them?
If they wouldn't put me through the physical examination, probably yes, but other than that, no.
Needless to say, this is an absolutely...
All right, so she says she does remember some things from the book, and that the book had some drawings of how the craft works.
Yeah, that's
right.
Yeah, I think so.
Damn. I mean, yeah. So I mean, maybe they're trying to free us.
They're trying to. I mean, just based on what we've studied, we have the means for free energy travel.
For sure.
Being kept from us, but maybe that's what they're trying to pass along.
Yeah, and we'll see today. I mean, the White House announced something this week too, which is insane. And I don't know what they're up to. If it was an exaggeration, the guy hasn't commented yet. And you said you went through this interview. Anything new in this one? The Andreasson affair?
I didn't go through. I was skimming through.
It's just Fowler too, right?
Yeah. I think we got the gist of it. I really wish we had done this episode more justice.
I think tried. I mean, it's at least we're showing that it was a serious case. Definitely a lot of crazy stuff in there. This is a long Fowler one from the 40s, but not from the 40s, from the 70s. But it's not very clear either.
Before we play the tape, you see, the conclusion of the report has been that Betty and her daughter were both telling the truth. Something happened to them.
Yes, they both believe it happened to them. There's no doubt. Lie detector tests, very rigid character reference check, and a number of other things that we can go into later indicates that they're telling the truth as they know it to be.
Okay, once again, Betty Andreasson, under hypnosis, reliving that medical exam.
I can hardly hear her. How come, when they record these regressions, they're just terrible?
Well, because it's a guy in an office with just a tape recorder, whereas the interviews we saw are like on TV with professional equipment.
Yeah.
So strain your ears, people.
Why do you have to put that in my nose? I'm putting that thing in my nose and it's going up and it's breaking through something. I don't like it. Oh, and I can't move. It's hurting. Started pulling something, that needle again with a tube like on the end. They're pulling. Looks like he's pulling it.
I mean, don't they have anesthetic? You know, I mean, can't they?
Well,
make the pain not.
What they do is they wave their hands in front of your eyes and you stop feeling pain. If we learned anything from Betty Hill.
Yeah, and I guess only when they do the regression is when the pain comes up, but when they talk about the experience, they don't talk about the pain. So yeah, there's probably something right about. They probably just when they do the wave, it goes into the subconscious instead
or
of
something. Yeah.
Oh, he's opening up that shit. He's gonna put that in my navel. Oh, I don't like this. Oh.
So this is when she's first on the ship and they start doing experiments on her. Just FYI for people.
I can feel them moving that thing around in my
This was the first
stomach.
part of the abduction.
Yeah.
Body.
Betty Andreasson, how did you get involved in, first of all, investigating the case? Being with NICAP, you were called in?
Well, actually, not yet. I'm director of investigations on the board of directors of the mutual.
I like that that scenario he said where he's like, you know, if humans took someone like from a beach and then they want to operate on them, you know, they'll operate and then they'll make them watch movies. He said once they're done, you know. So he's wondering if the same thing similar happened to her where they did that to her and then sent her to go see that Phoenix as a recovery thing.
Yeah,
and sent her back.
I mean, it's kind of like when, you know, the U.S. Forest Service, for example, needs to track a bear. And so what do? They're in a helicopter, they trank a bear, and then, you know, they do tests on the bear and send the bear back. But imagine being the bear and trying to explain that to other bears.
Exactly.
Yeah, there was a big flying thing in the sky. I fell asleep and I woke up on a table someplace, and then I don't remember anything else. And now I'm back here. It's just like, well, that, you know.
Yeah, and these bipedal monsters came out with masks on or helmets. Oh man. So crazy. And maybe the entertainment, because the question I was asked by Rogan, I was asking, you know, what do these do for entertainment? You know, what do they do in their spare time, these guys? And maybe that's what they watch, is these kind of phoenixes. Maybe they want to maybe that's how they want to experience entertainment, is something spiritual like that. I don't know. Weird case, man. I mean, especially all the details. And there's a lot of them that are unique to her. Now, this most of her experience is not unique. But maybe that's half the phenomenon thing, is that it's catered to her.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of things that we've talked about in this episode that have come up, obviously, in a bunch of abduction cases. And there are some, you know, individual things. And again, I just think that's her bringing her subconsciousness, not on purpose, but
right,
bringing her subconscious into what's happening to her.
Yeah. But again, they went into her navel, so you know there's that whole hybridization program thing lurking in the background, especially if they have like all these different human beings in glass cases, right? And different animals. I mean, what the hell? Are they the ones who are like, is everything we see here an experiment from them, or are they protecting it for some, you know, future cataclysm? Where
who knows?
You know, who knows? So strange, dude.
I mean, I think it's more of a, to me, just with all the evidence presented, I think it's more of a trying to extend their life by integrating with ours.
Or a way to survive also on this planet if they want to come in here. Yeah. Maybe take the best from all races.
Something like that.
I mean, if you're gonna, I would do that if you're breeding something.
Yeah, why not? So anyway, that's the Betty Andreasson affair. Like I said, read the book, guys. It's really good.
We'll link it. So it's called The Andreasson Affair. Apparently, he has 5 other books that really go into other details, but we will link them in the description
and
the show notes.
Yeah, the 4 other books came out, after her divorce from James, I think was the name of the first husband, and then married to Luca, who is not a very trustworthy source.
So her first husband, did they get divorced because of this?
Maybe. I don't remember if it's mentioned in the book. But it very well could have been, because that's a huge, that's a huge thing to get into your life.
Exactly, and especially she got all that media attention and all those interviews, and that's what people knew her as, and maybe he didn't want anything to do with it. So last week, Corbell and Knapp released that 2023 Tic Tac footage. So this is one of the Navy officers that was on that ship, and he's gonna go through what he saw.
Nice.
Those Tic Tacs.
Where the video stops, I'll share this. This is kind of like, something that probably everybody wants to know. I'll tell you what happens when the video stops. The video stops, and the CSM zooms out. And as the CSM zooms out, we notice that there's a total of 4. Now, on radar, I already noticed that once I came back in, I noticed the one that I was looking for visually, and I noticed other contacts in that same location. But when we first zoomed in on the contact in the video that you see, we only saw the one, and then we see the second one. It was only when we zoom out, we realize, holy crap, there's 2 more out here, a total of 4. And so we're just watching. What's the point of looking away? We're witnessing something that most people don't get a chance to witness in their life. So we're just watching on Sapphire, and we're tracking it, and Sapphire's, tracking one of them, and it's tracking and tracking and tracking. And as time goes by, we're like, let's just watch. I would say maybe 20, 30 seconds pass after the video stops. And all of a sudden, you just see all 4 of them take off to the northeast all at the same time, just out of nowhere. And if I had to talk speed, it would say like maybe 2 steps behind instantaneous. It wasn't like if you blink, it's gone. We had time to watch them go off into the distance, but really instantly. No noise, no sonic boom, no effects in the water that cause rippling in the water. Nobody was affected. Nothing was affected. We didn't get a gust of wind to hit us, and that's anything else. I'm not a scientist, but anything else that could have been disturbed with that level of speed was not disturbed.
And these 4 points leave as if they're one object. Is that right?
Yes. So what in the Navy, we have these things called tactical signals. So we'll do tactical signals as an operations specialist with the bridge, and with a strike group or an ESG, which is a expeditionary strike group. We'll get together and we'll conduct exercises, and over different radio circuits, we will conduct different formations, and it's called by the formation commander, and they'll issue a way that everyone's supposed to turn, for example. And once they conduct and execute, they execute, and they all turn at the same time. So it's pretty cool to see ships do this. It was very reminiscent to see all 4 of those objects as if they were doing the same thing. They all executed at the same time, leaving. It's not like 3 of them left and then one was kind of like a little behind them. No, they were all in sync at the same time. And
the frustrating thing is, why wasn't that on video? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Well,
I'm assuming the footage we got was leaked, right? And probably each, part of their group is tracking one individual thing.
Yeah.
We never got the footage from all 4 of them.
Nope. That would have been great to see if all 4 left at the same time like that. Because then, people like Mick West can, because I'm sure he's still saying they're planes, misidentification as usual.
Yeah.
But also, this happened from the new White House Office of Science and Technology Policy Director, Michael Kratsios, says the U.S. has technology that can manipulate time and space. And he also said, he also said that we purposely stagnated technology in the 70s.
Yeah, I mean that totally tracks.
They're admitting it now, and this is after Trump said we have technology that you can't even dream of the day before. I think we covered that last week. Remember, I was like, what is he saying here?
Yeah.
Well, this is what he's saying.
Our passenger planes are slower than they used to be. Our trains crawl compared to those in other parts of the world. Our cars do not fly. Advances have not stopped, but something has gone wrong. Stagnation was a choice. We have weighed down our builders and innovators. The well-intentioned regulatory regime of the 1970s became an ever-tightening ratchet, first hampering America's ability to become a net energy exporter and then making it harder and harder to build. We seem to have lost focus and vision, to have lowered our sights and let systems and structures and bureaucracies muddle us along. But we are capable of so much more. Our technologies permit us to manipulate time and space. They leave distance annihilated, cause things to grow and improve productivity. Our passenger plane.
Now, was he exaggerating? That's what they haven't commented yet. But this is the transcript. We're capable of so much more. Our technologies permit us to manipulate time and space. And then this, where's that one? What's his name? Here is it? Oh, this guy. His last name is Andreasson, by the way. Who says this?
Well, it's Anderson, but
no. This guy is Andreasson. See?
Oh yeah.
So yeah, and then listen to
We had
this.
meetings in DC in May where we talked to them about this, and the meetings were absolutely horrifying. And we came out basically deciding we had to endorse Trump.
What did you hear in those meetings?
AI is a technology basically that the government is going to completely control. This is not going to be a startup thing. They actually said flat out to us, don't do AI startups. Like don't fund AI startups. That's not something that we're going to allow to happen. They're not going to be allowed to exist. There's no point. They basically said AI is going to be a game of 2 or 3 big companies working closely with the government, and we're going to basically wrap them in a, I'm paraphrasing, but we're going to basically wrap them in a government cocoon. We're going to protect them from competition. We're going to control them, and we're going to dictate what they do. And then I said, I don't understand how you're going to lock this down so much, because like the math for, AI is like out there and it's being taught everywhere. And, they literally said, during the Cold War, we classified entire areas of physics and took them out of the research community, and like entire branches of physics basically went dark and didn't proceed. And that if we decide we need to, we're going to do the same thing to the math underneath AI. And,
wow.
And
isn't that crazy that they classified entire things of physics? This is the White House telling him that.
Yeah,
so that just goes with the theme.
Yeah, man, that is really scary stuff.
But then, of course, at the same time they're doing this, so we know they're hiding technology, right? We know there is a UFO cover-up, but then now they're coming out with these studies. This is on nature.com. Exploring expert figures in sorry about the sirens.
Yeah.
If you can read.
It sounds like Adam lives in a high crime area. I know that's not true, but
All right, they're gone.
Okay.
Exploring expert figures in alien-related UFO conspiracy theories. So this is basically they went through X accounts and different accounts of these alien UFO influencers and talking about anti-government conspiracy theories.
Ugh.
Yeah, and it is a long one, but you can just see they're trying to do something. They use Arrow as their. They love doing this, don't they? They use Arrow's study as their resource.
Yeah.
The Arrow found no evidence that any U.S.
Right.
government investigation, academic sponsored research, or official review panel has confirmed that any site of a UAP represented extraterrestrial technology. All investigative efforts at all levels of classification concluded that most sightings were ordinary objects and phenomena and the result of misidentification.
Yeah, we've talked about this. That's what the government does. That's why they put up these things like Arrow. It's so they can say, "Oh, look, we did all the research already, and we can refer back to this and say it's not true." I mean, it's the same thing with like COVID, for example. Like now all the stories are coming out saying COVID was from a lab, which people were saying that from the very beginning, but the government go, no, look at the quote unquote science. We did all these studies and found it couldn't have come from a lab, right?
Right, exactly.
Of course that wasn't true, but now here we are.
Yeah, and even the White House changed the COVID-19 website to say that was a lab leak. It's right there in the hero now.
Yeah.
Look, they're bringing Alex Jones. I mean,
Right.
COVID-19, and they're talking about how conspiracy theories work. I mean, just absolutely, and it's dangerous because here is a space, an X space, where someone in the intelligence community is leaking to the UFO community something that's happening, and it's dangerous. Let's listen to her.
About the right way to say this. Okay. I'm just going to say it. There is to my knowledge, which I find this source very credible, and it was said to me only in person, and no one else was around, and this is what it was. That there is what I'm assuming is a counterterrorism or counter-intel operation going on that is attempting in the United States to wrap up all fringe and further extreme, as they call it, beliefs and activities, and to associate them all in such a way as to be able to call them enemies of the state, essentially. Okay.
Enemies of the state is what they're trying to do. So she's a former Pentagon intelligence officer, and they're probably going to look at these fringe views that they call fringe, that people basically going to be anti-government beliefs, right? That they purposefully hid this information from us. They stagnated technology, and they're going to lump those beliefs as enemy of the state, which is very, very dangerous.
It's what they do.
Yeah, and this is what they're going to use that to censor speech, to shut down podcasts and people researching this, maybe even jail them. Who knows what they're up to?
Yeah, great.
But, I mean, it sounds like Elizondo, who calls what's his name, Greer, a terrorist, for saying what he says, and he basically says that there's a cabal there, that they kill. They have technology that is hidden from the public that would help humanity. And I guess that type of rhetoric is dangerous. We got to be careful. And again, this is why we're anonymous.
Yep.
I mean, if they really want to know, they can know easily.
Yeah, I know. We're not very good at being anonymous.
We're just not making it too easy.
Yeah. Make them work for it at least.
Yeah.
And then we fall under some type of homeland domestic terrorism provision that allows for this to happen. Okay. And before you
just to ground what you just said into some reality for the group here, right? For all the listeners.
I thought that was very reality based. I even gave you historical references.
It's incredibly reality based, but I want people to know that I believe this is happening, and I believe it's happening right here every day on UFO Twitter. Okay?
Absolutely.
And look no further than the statements that Lou Elizondo made, all right, on the podcast that's now famous, that clip that you should never be able to unhear, which is that Lou Elizondo said, and I've memorized this, not by choice, just by repetition, right? He says,
left the Department of Defense, ironically enough, to finish the very mission they gave me in the first place. I didn't ask for it. I'm not a UFO guy. I'm not a ufologist. I never have been. I never will be. I'm a counterterrorism and counterespionage guy. I just do counterintelligence, counterinsurgencies. That's what I do. And it just so happens that in 2008, I was asked to apply those same skill sets into the UFO community.
I'm not a UFO guy. I'm not a ufologist. I never have been. I never will be. I'm a counter-intel guy, counterterrorism, counterinsurgencies. That's who I am. That's what I do. And it just so happens that in 2007, I was asked to apply that skill set into the UFO community.
There it is. There it is. And I want you to know that I have noticed a pattern of accounts that have been made in 2007.
Yeah, and then of course this got leaked. So what she's talking about is this DARPA assist program reached completion during 2024 budgetary period and now autonomous. Lifelike AI agents with various radicalized personalities are being deployed across the internet to groom surveillance targets into predetermined behaviors.
Oh man.
So yeah, so there's a bunch of accounts out there that are new. That's which she just said, which subvert these communities. I mean, they did it in the past, but physically, right?
Yeah, no,
Like,
they've done this.
Yeah,
They've done this for a long time.
exactly. Yeah, they go in there, they radicalize them, and then they do that to shut it down or to control it.
Yeah, I mean,
Right.
it's kind of like what sounds like happened on January. What was that? January 6th.
January 6th, yeah, when they
Same
went
thing.
in.
I mean, they found that whole group was full of feds.
Yeah, it was all feds, exactly. Or at least telling people, you go there. What was that guy named that they were after? He was like, we need to go. We need to march onto the Capitol.
Yeah, I mean, they're all
Ray
feds.
Ray Epps.
That's the one. Yep.
Yeah, Ray Epps. So because these include a radicalized AI protest persona. Another AI persona in their presentation is described as a honeypot AI. Other personas are a 14-year-old boy child trafficking AI persona, an AI pimp persona,
God.
college protester, external recruiter for protests, escorts, and juveniles.
Woof.
Yeah, so be careful out there, people. And we have to be very aware that there's going to be accounts out there that, and if they are subverting, you'll know,
Yeah.
they're trying to start something up. But
if you ever hear from someone that you've never met in person, you meet them online, even if you do meet them in person and they encourage you to do something illegal, they're fed.
Yeah, pretty much. So it's getting dangerous out there. It's crazy because when Trump came in, they were supposed to open this up and be transparent about it, but looks like they've upped it looks like they've upped the ante with counter espionage and counter intel.
Great.
I know. So we just have to be very
Extra
wary
vigilant.
of this. Extra vigilant, exactly. And for us not to become radicalized either.
Right.
We just want, we don't want all the truths out there, but there are certain aspects of this that need to be released for the betterment of humanity.
Mm-hmm.
This video, I don't know if it's a joke, but it's on Fox. Maybe it is a joke. 3 states are best prepared for an alien invasion.
I think this is the subversion we were just talking about.
Right? Yes, because this is what I mean. Who's talking about an alien invasion?
Right.
Well, Fox is. Ingram.
Oh man, they even use movie clips.
Yeah. Oh my God! Fear.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Okay. It seems far-fetched. Well, why not think ahead? A new study from GigaCalculator ranks Virginia as the best prepared to deal with an alien invasion, with Alabama in second place, Massachusetts in third, New York in fourth, and Minnesota rounding out the top 5.
Yeah, seriously.
Okay, I am officially confused. Massachusetts and New York were sanctuaries for illegal aliens. We know how Minnesota handled the mess there in the Summer of Love, and they're all going to save us from actual aliens. Joining me now is Mike Barry, UFO expert and aerospace engineer. All right, Mike, what makes Virginia the top state to deal with an invasion, other than, of course, I'll be part of the fighting force?
Well, you have all the military there, Laura. You have all of this defense. The Pentagon is right near Virginia. So it seems like in that area, the nation's capital area, you would obviously have a lot of exotic defenses that we probably don't know anything about. It seems like in the past, aliens have had problems with different kinds of radars that we've used. And who knows? We have all kinds of weapons that we don't really talk about. Particle beams, laser beams. Who knows? Maybe we could get CERN to build us a little black hole we could throw at them if they try to invade. And I'm sure DC has all that stuff.
Okay, I can
That's not
get
a bad
that.
point.
Okay.
Yeah, which is why Maryland. Wait, was Maryland in there too?
I don't think so.
Where is that map? Oh yeah, it was MA and MN. Yeah, North Maryland, because that's DC area.
Of course, the CIA is in Virginia. But what I can't understand is Massachusetts and New York, given their difficulty in dealing with just basic crime problems. Okay, I don't understand that.
Well, they seem pretty welcoming of aliens, so maybe the aliens look at those two states and say, hey, this is a good place for us. We're not going to mess with these people. They're pretty good. But I will say this, it strikes me that sending Katy Perry to space is the most provocative thing we could do. And that worries me. That worries me because I live in Nevada, which, if you notice, is the bottom of the list. It's like the most likely to be conquered by aliens is my state. So that scares me. But
Minnesota coexist. A lot of coexist bumper stickers in Minnesota, so they rank number 5. So that makes sense.
Right. So, well, maybe this poll is a different thing.
Yeah, let me just say this.
Maybe this is different.
Sorry, we have a crosstalk. Governor Youngkin told the Angle that illegal aliens of any kind will not be welcome in Virginia for as long as I am governor. Okay, having a little fun with that. And the Nevada governor, Lombardo, told us that Nevada has 60 million acres of wide open space where you can explore lush mountains, sweeping national parks, forests, vast desert landscapes, all while avoiding any unwanted UFOs. So people are getting serious about this today.
Yeah, it's a big deal.
Now, we're joking on a lot of this, but you actually say this is something we should take seriously. Why?
Well, remember, I live in a state, I live in Las Vegas, and last year we had a 10-foot tall alien in somebody's backyard. And that's a little disconcerting, especially I talked to some police officers here, and they said, you're never going to see the body cam footage that they took in that backyard. So, look, just to take it a little more seriously, we have documentation. There's documents out there that indicate that we've been visited for a very long time, that this is something CIA in Virginia knows all about. And you have to assume that they've been preparing for this. But we don't have any public knowledge of that. I mean, shouldn't we maybe have hearings on considering this eventuality? Because if you just look at what's in the New York Times and the Washington Post the last 7-8 years, it's aliens all the time.
All right. Well, Mike, this.
Right, that was pretty strange.
Yeah, that is a little strange, isn't it?
Yeah, especially that they're trying to lump it into conspiracy theories, but it's on Fox News. I'll be interested to see how they're going to lump this in.
Yeah, I mean, I thought this was going to be a lot more jokey, and it was. But
yeah, it still was.
There was actually some decent conversation there, and it was kind of taken seriously.
Yeah. They always have to throw some jokes in for the audience.
I mean, mainstream news is still not ready to treat aliens like a real thing, but they're getting there,
Yeah,
So
yeah, true, exactly. I think Fox is ahead of everyone with that. Well, I mean,
yeah, weirdly enough.
Yeah, especially like when Tucker was on there, he was always bringing up this subject and he brought on Elizondo and Fravor and those guys. Well, it's not
pretty cool stuff, man. I'm definitely not moving to New York or Massachusetts to avoid the aliens. I'll tell you that much.
Hell no. New Jersey, that they had all the mystery drones. Yeah. So apparently an object went into a roof, got caught on camera, but there's no object.
Oh,
they found no object.
Weird.
Yeah.
Now to New Jersey and a mystery in the sky. An out-of-this-world mystery in New Jersey. An unidentified object slamming into this auto repair shop in the middle of the night. The fireball tearing through the building, leaving a gaping hole in the roof, smashing into the workspace below.
So that's when I went to my cameras and I found all the videos. You eventually see like a giant fireball come through the ceiling and then everything come flying down the roof with it.
Despite the destruction, there's no sign of the actual object that caused the damage.
There's a bright flash, there's a boom, there's a hole. And that's 3 out of 4 things. If we had one more thing, like an item that we could identify as being extraterrestrial, then we might say it's something from space.
It comes just months after hundreds of drones were spotted in the skies across New Jersey.
What the heck?
The sightings shutting down airports and sparking conspiracy theories. The FBI investigated but ultimately found nothing sinister. Still, the FAA is now launching a weeks-long testing program in the state aimed at improving aerial detection systems to make sure drones like these don't disrupt commercial flights in the future. The testing program beginning today will look into how drones may interfere with aircraft navigation. Now,
Weird. What is it? Some kind of weapon? You know,
That's really bizarre. That I mean, they have the camera footage of it slamming in there, but nothing like flying back out or
yeah, nothing. It's just like a boom. I mean, it could be maybe it's a
'cause if
laser.
it was, yeah, maybe. I don't know. Very weird. Because like if it's a drone, you'd at least find pieces of it.
Yeah, and there's that flash, and something
Yeah, I mean,
fell from
something clearly crashed there. But it looks like toilet paper fell off the ceiling.
and that's it. That's all we have.
Yeah, I mean, they couldn't keep the cameras on to see long enough, like if anything left or anything like that. Very weird.
Yeah, and that hole is strange too. So it's not like it's not a uniform hole. It looks like it was burned. Maybe
Yeah,
it's like a cartoon like Wile E. Coyote. Is that like a
Yeah.
small alien?
yeah. I'd hate to
There's an
see.
antenna.
I'd hate to see what that alien looks like. Looks like a potato with a thing sticking out of its head.
Strange stuff happening in the world.
Yeah,
I
man.
talked about this yesterday. The UAP dog whistle generator.
Uh-huh.
And it's based on the work that Skywatcher is doing. So there's an account on X that actually wrote code to play the sound. He starts summoning.
To start summoning UFOs. This is great.
Yeah, look at that. They have, and these are all the frequencies. If they're pulsed, like some frequencies are pulsed every few seconds, like 2.5 kilohertz every 10 seconds, 432 hertz, smooth ambient foundation. That is just wild. So we can take this with us onto that cliff and see if they show up.
Nice.
Should I press play?
Yeah, let's do it. Let's summon some aliens.
Do you see anything?
No, there's nothing in my bedroom right now.
It does sound very alien, man.
Yeah, it does. Very cool.
I should probably put it on speakers out here on the balcony and see if anything shows up.
Yeah. Yeah, why not?
The Blue Origin thing. Here's definitive proof that the Blue Origin mission was faked.
Nice.
Did you see this stuff?
No, I didn't. But this kind of thing wouldn't surprise me one bit.
It's
Is there
basically
any?
the door right there.
I mean, couldn't this be a test of some sort?
This is them saying that they landed.
Oh.
Yeah. And there's
of the opening of the hatch. Check this out.
You know, you saw her get so emotional in her pre-flight interview. Is she still is that still the weighing emotion, or is she still just oh my God, I saw the stars, I saw the curvature of the earth? You know, what's going to come out of her mouth, but really her heart.
The door opened by accident.
Jeff Bezos out there right by the capsule, kind of hard to see.
That is correct. That is Jeff Bezos, our founder, on the left, as well as Sarah Knights, our crew member 7.
Okay, guys, did you see that? Let's go back and watch it one more time. Okay, now I want you to watch the hatch door open from the inside. The lady runs over there real quick, says, no, shuts the door back, tries to stand in front of it. And then, actually, she starts laughing about it, as you can see right here, because, like I said, it's all staged. It has to look like it's open from the outside.
And we're now just awaiting the opening of the hatch so we can get some views from our 6 new astronauts.
Phelps. And I would imagine Lauren Sanchez in seat 1 will be coming out first?
That is correct. They'll go. She's in seat 1, which is next to the left. The left window there. She will go first. And then last in number 6 is Carrie Ann. That is the window on the right.
Sky Canyon.
You see those vans arriving. Those are friends and family.
All right. Come on.
And that's Carrie Ann looking out the window, in the window to the right there. Lauren Sanchez on the left. And you really get a sense for just how big these windows are. I mean, when you're inside this capsule, it's almost as though you're getting a full 360 panoramic
surface area of this crash. Engineers brought in some windows. He said, nope, make. Why is that so important? So many of our astronauts do a panoramic hatch. Okay, here we go. Here goes Jeff Bezos to open the hatch.
Oh, that is bad. He is going to cut it open or whatever.
Oh my god. Look how flimsy it is. Like that went to space. You know what I mean? Like airplane doors. Aren't airplane doors like at least, I don't know, 6 inches thick or more?
Yeah. Wow.
Especially that it opened like that before. And like, oops, close it.
Yeah. Oh no. That's crazy stuff.
Okay, now you guys just seen them faking it with your own eyes. Once again, watch them open the pressurized capsule from the inside, not knowing that it's not time. It's not cue time yet. And then you have the stage part where the media shows you all over the news that they're waiting for the guy to open the hatch.
Good? Okay, here we go. Here goes Jeff Bezos to open the
So
hatch.
terrible.
Yeah, that's really embarrassing.
Yeah. Oh my god. Dude, he's one of the richest people on the planet. You can't make something better than this? That is just embarrassing.
Yeah, I mean, actually, I saw a YouTube short with Neil deGrasse Tyson talking about, these guys didn't even go to space when Bezos went up there with, what was that other billionaire's name? He was talking about, how high you have to get up to space and talking about the curve of the earth and stuff. And
right.
They're not seeing any of that.
They didn't go that high.
Yeah.
Yeah. So if you believe this, your test came back.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh man.
And
it's exactly. See, this is a re-entry vehicle. It looked pristine. Look at this. This is how it should look if it was actually burning, right?
And if you could scroll up there for a minute, the very top post. Nope, sorry. Scroll down.
Oh, down.
Scroll down, right, and then just click on that really quick. Open that
this
up,
one
full screen.
Yeah, we did.
It's funny they all found somewhat attractive women to be in this photo op. Not one, slightly unattractive.
That's a good point.
Scientist. Yeah. They've got a perfect photo op here.
Yeah, you gotta look good on TV and in pictures. Is she that the one on the Oprah chick?
No.
Oh, friend of Oprah. That's not her.
I don't think so. Aren't these like just quote unquote scientists?
No, because Katy Perry was on there, wasn't she?
Dude, I don't know. I haven't been paying attention to the story at all.
And here's that stupid thing that they originally.
So, what do you think they did?
I mean, I have no idea. But nobody believes it. Everyone's making fun of it. To the moon, probably a crash.
Huh. Well, I hope one day to go to space. I hope I'm not in a fake space vehicle that is just for a photo op, but I would love to go to space one day.
Yes, and we can not with rockets. I'm sure we can do it with much cooler tech and just be up there in a split second.
And people like you and me will never get access to that technology. So
right, because we're going to be lumped in with domestic,
we're the common
troublemakers.
People. We're the common people.
Right, common people are not allowed to experience Earth as one unit. So, there are these radio stations that the U.S. has in Russia. Yes, exactly.
I love them. I listen to them sometimes when I'm trying to fall asleep. It's great.
So apparently Russia's mysterious doomsday radio station, UVB-76, just sent out 4 eerie cryptic messages in only 24 hours. Neptune, Timus, Foxcloak, and Nutabu. Active since 1975, this Cold War era shortwave station usually emits nothing but a static buzz until something big is about to happen. So I guess
we could do an episode on number stations. That'd be fun.
Yeah. Okay. That sounds cool. I hear Nikolai.
Yeah, I heard that too. But what's so fun about these number stations is there's no official word on what they are.
Yeah, no one knows
These things
exactly.
Been going on since like the 60s, I think.
Yeah.
No
Cold
one,
War.
not any government has come out and said that they have them or what they are saying or anything like that.
Well, you know, if
they never say who's listening, you know.
Right. Yeah. I mean, a nuclear war could happen anytime, right? So it wouldn't surprise me if they're changing the radio station, just warning their troops.
Yeah.
Be on high alert.
Yeah, or something like that. Man, who knows?
And then these guys created a space-time film. So basically showing that that our reality is always pulsing, is always an energy. Space-time crystal. It's called. This is a film as it repeats in space and time, pulsing forever with no energy input. This is rest.
Weird.
Yeah, look at that. That's what it looks like.
Huh.
This is what the universe pulses.
Yeah, just kind of goes with my, not a really good theory, but a theory that the universe is technically alive.
Yeah, and full of energy.
Yeah.
These are energy pulses. And that's what when they talk about free energy devices, they're not really free energy, but they're pulling it from the fabric of space using these vibrations. And some cool stuff coming out, even like batteries using this function as well.
Mm-hmm.
Like look at this. This is a really cool account. He's called Bluntly Put Philosopher. He finds all these YouTube videos that have hardly any views, but they use really breakthrough science.
That's cool.
So, yeah, this one's a magnetic levitating spherical pet that reacts to human emotions. Only 1K views on YouTube. It expresses its own emotions. That's happy.
Now, okay, how real is this?
I don't know. I thought it was interesting. Yeah, it could be like a magnet underneath the table.
It could be CGI.
Going back to his house. Oh no, these are old videos.
We've had CGI for quite some time. It could be a magnet would suck it to the table.
Yeah. Maybe he has how to make it. That'll be even better. Look how tiny it is. Yeah, and who knows what's in this box, dude? It could be like a repelling magnet underneath it. Just holding it there. Look at that. It's playing. That's funny. Thanks for the music. Oh, whoa. What was that? Wait a minute.
That's at the very end.
Is that the very end? Lav pet, a magnetic levitating spherical pet with effective reactions. Future interactive devices. What? Look at that. Well, did he leave a link to the YouTube video? Yes, he did.
I don't know about this.
That is hilarious. It is in. If you approach it with a happy face, the pet will greet you and move on.
What do the comments say?
I don't know. Would it work? But I always imagine the metal ball suspended in a magnetic field. No. So, what was the research question?
Yeah.
Not really good. They're called UPNA Labs. UPNA Labs 2022.
Huh. Okay. Well, we watched that. I'm not sure what to think. I don't think it's real, personally, but that's just my opinion.
Researchers unveil nearly invisible brain-computer interface.
Oh, good. We need more of these.
Isn't that nice?
Yeah.
Look at that tiny. Look how tiny it is. Microscale brain sensor placed between hair follicles.
So what does it do?
Basically what Musk is doing.
The sensor offers high fidelity signals and makes the continuous use of brain computer interfaces in everyday life possible. Oh, okay. Huh.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Direct communications pathways between the brain's electrical activity and external devices such as electroencephalography devices,
nice,
computers, robotic limbs, and other brain monitoring devices. Brain monitoring.
So good. So this is great. I no longer have to click on apps on my phone. I can just stare at them and think the word click. And
exactly. Yeah, you train them. Yeah.
Huh.
It'd be nice to have an exoskeleton as well. You're not really moving anymore. You're just telling the exoskeleton to move around. Man, what a future we have.
Seriously.
Like, look, there it is. It is tiny. Like, have you seen Musk's
Wow.
Neuralink? It's pretty. I mean, fine, it's not huge, but it's pretty big, and it leaves a big hole in your head.
Oh, that is cool. No, I haven't seen that. Interesting.
And they're using it. Look at that. A study of 6 people using the device to control an augmented reality video call found that high-fidelity neural signal capture persisted for up to 12 hours with very low electrical resistance at the contact between skin and sensor.
Oh, good.
I mean, I guess that's what aliens have inside of them.
Yeah, but the biomechanical version or whatever.
Yeah. Power of collaboration. All right. So that's Georgia Institute of Technology. There's a schism going on in the Trump administration. I don't know if you heard about the leak that happened, the Iran leak.
I haven't actually.
So Netanyahu came, right, and he came to the White House, and he basically presented his war plans to basically go after Iran's nuclear facilities.
Mm-hmm.
Now, inside the administration, Tulsi Gabbard basically said no. Hegseth was one of the guys who said no, which I'm shocked about.
Yeah, that's weird. Cool.
Yeah, and Trump went with that side. He's a no war guy anyway. He hates war, Trump, so that's a good thing about him. So yeah, it was almost imminent, and it didn't happen because we said no. But now the Israel lobby is going after people inside the Pentagon, like this guy, Hegseth's senior defense advisor Dan Caldwell has been placed on leave by the Pentagon after an alleged unauthorized disclosure.
Uh-oh.
Caldwell is critical of America's one-sided relationship with Israel and opposes war with Iran. He's I think the third guy.
He must be some sort of terrorist then, opposing Israel like that.
I know. So he's someone that cares about this country and our interests over a foreign country. They can't have that within the Pentagon.
No, of course not.
But I think it was really refreshing to see Hegseth on that side. I was shocked. I thought, well, of course, Rubio wants war. He's one of the guys that wants war. The ambassador also.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, this administration, it's just, I was talking to someone yesterday. It just feels like such a mess when it comes to tariffs, the censorship of speech.
Yeah, seriously.
It's like it doesn't know. It's like it knows something bad's going to happen, and they're trying to stop it.
Yeah, I don't know. Or they're just like prepping us for, something terrible to happen here soon.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Here's a cool video from Greg Reese, and he pulls in all the stuff we've talked about, like Antarctica,
nice.
Nazi UFOs, and then he links it up to that statement by the White House Office of Technology and Innovation.
Cool.
It's a great video, just 4 minutes.
All right, sweet.
In 1919, German secret societies, the Thule Gesellschaft and the Vril Society, officially joined together to make contact and form an alliance with the ancient Aryan race. They allegedly succeeded and acquired information of an exotic propulsion system, which they handed over to German engineers. In 1923, German engineer Hermann Oberth published a book about spacecraft development entitled The Rocket to the Planetary Spaces, and founded the Society for Space Travel in 1927. Werner von Braun was a founding member. Hermann Oberth claimed that he and his team were helped by people from other worlds. In 1939, the Germans began exploring Antarctica. Documents found after the war show an exotic technology being developed in secret known as Die Glocke, reported to affect the space-time field around it. In 1945, 2 German submarines were captured off the coast of Mar del Plata, heading to Antarctica. A map was found with instructions to an underground base. In 1946, the U.S. Navy launched Operation High Jump, a classified military operation under the guise of a scientific exploration. It was abruptly terminated, and on their return, Admiral Richard Byrd told the Chilean press that the United States should adopt protection against the possibility of an invasion coming from the polar regions. In 1947, a flying disc crashed in Roswell, New Mexico. Weeks later, the National Security Act was enacted and the CIA was created. In 1952, UFOs were reported in Washington, D.C. Fighters were dispatched but could not keep up with them. Radar personnel were convinced that the targets were solid metallic objects. In 1958, NASA was founded, with Werner von Braun developing rockets, and 2 years later, becoming director of NASA. In 1959, the Antarctica Treaty was signed by 12 nations, prohibiting the military, private corporations, and the general public south of the 60th parallel without express permission from signatory nation states. In 2024, former Raytheon employee Eric Hecker claimed that there are exotic weapons of mass destruction in Antarctica.
There are embedded in the ice what are called digital optical modules, DOMs. They're about the size of a basketball. The array embedded in the ice is 1 kilometer by 1 kilometer by 1 kilometer. It is the world's largest telescope. And now, because we have proven that it can transmit, it's the world's largest directed energy weapons system. It is responsible for the earthquakes in Christchurch, New Zealand in 2011 on the front end of the year.
And just yesterday, Trump administration official Michael Kratsios said that our technologies permit us to manipulate time and space and cause things to grow.
Over the last few decades, America has become complacent, forgetting old dreams of building a wondrous future. But we know the American pioneer spirit still seeks the exploration of endless frontiers. Our technologies and what we do with them will be tools with which we will make the destiny of our country manifest in this century. Our technologies permit us to manipulate time and space. They leave distance annihilated, cause things to grow and improve productivity.
Greg Reese reporting.
That was great. That essentially sums up everything, all the UFO conspiracy lore. You're muted, by the way.
Oh yeah, I was gonna say, yeah, Greg Reek's awesome. He's awesome when he does these summaries. He really, he packs it all in there in like a 5-minute video.
Yeah, good stuff. Yeah, we could essentially link that at the bottom of our show notes, like forever.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, I always play it as in the outro. I was gonna say, I think some deal must have been struck with the Trump administration, because these technologies, we've always heard that it'll take an act of God to get them out, right? Mm-hmm. So if they are really going to release these technologies and these innovations to us, the people, then and that's why we might seeing all this this censorship and and all this AI activity. Like now they want AI to go through the IRS and other government institutions. Maybe the deal is struck that, yeah, fine, we'll release them, but we need 100% spying just to make sure no one's going to weaponize this technology. There's no other way. Like, why would you? You know how dangerous it is. Right. And if we are going to have a golden age, a new golden age, then these technologies have to come out. And I'm all for it because, yeah, it will solve everything. You know, the empire is crumbling. The economy is. It needs to be revived. And, yeah, you know, instead of this stagnation of that basically stuck in the 1950s, pretty much, if these technologies come out and we can produce things. I mean, if you go back to Walter Russell's books, he even says you don't even need to mine anymore. If you use these concepts and this technology, you don't need to mine for gold or oil, and you can actually create it just like that. You know, what do they call it? The Sapphire Project? I mean, even they are seeing new elements being produced in their laboratories that weren't even there, and gold is one of them. Aluminum, stuff like that.
Mhm.
So yeah, I mean, if we want a golden age, this is the way to do it. Now, is it worth losing our freedom? That's where I'm at.
Right.
And that's what's going to take. They're going to take away our freedoms. They're going to say, well,
Oh,
you
that's
can't.
always the government solution.
Yeah, and then Trump saying we're going to increase the military budget to $1 trillion. Maybe that's part of the deal as well, because now I think it's sitting at 600 or 700 billion. So a 30% increase, he's probably paying them off.
Yeah,
he's like,
Makes sense.
but it would be great. I guess we just have to keep our mouths shut and not say anything bad about the government.
That's going to be really difficult for me. I'll tell you what.
Well, I don't think we're on anyone's radar. We are patriots. That's why we love this
Yeah.
country. We love the Constitution.
That's the thing
We
is
love humanity.
Yeah, we love humanity. We love America.
Yeah, we're anti-war. We don't want people to see people die, and from any nation, you know, any country, especially not ours, unless we're attacked. That's different.
Right. Yeah, it's a whole
yeah. Do you like Starship Troopers? That movie?
Yes. Hey, the only good bug is a dead bug.
It's a total classic.
It really
I mean,
is good.
and it just went full on, right? There was no like transition. You just get right into the movie. Humanity's already in space, and they're at war with with a bug species. It's just amazing.
Yeah, the only thing I didn't like about that movie is the main character should have chosen that redheaded chick that was obsessed with him.
Oh yeah, that was it. I agree. That was very frustrating too. He's
Yeah.
an idiot.
Yeah, he is an idiot. But I think that's kind of the point of the movie, right? Like,
yeah.
He's
He's-
all the people that join up are kind of stupid, but they
Yep.
don't know any better.
Yeah, they're like part of this machine.
Yeah.
They're all like, rah, 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 let's go. Yeah.
Yeah.
Any good movies you watched lately?
Nothing too crazy. I watched it's called Transcendence with Johnny Depp, and he's like slowly integrating himself into a computer.
Oh, yeah, it's an old one. That was a good
Yeah,
movie.
it's not super old. But it's probably about a decade old at this point.
Yeah, it's an AI movie, basically.
Yeah, it's an AI.
Yeah.
It's an AI movie. That one I enjoyed it a lot more now than I did when it first came out.
I agree. It's because it was very philosophical too.
Yes, yeah,
Right.
it was. He's essentially trying to convert all of humans and essentially the world into a hybrid between organic life and technological life.
That's what they want. That's what they want.
Yeah, because it allows them to live forever.
Yeah.
Yeah, but no, that was pretty good. I think it's worth a watch.
Cool. I started Mobland the other day. Like, do you like Guy Ritchie stuff?
Yeah, I do. I haven't seen Mobland though.
Dude, I think you'd love it. It's really good.
All right, I'll check it out.
Really good. It's all Guy Ritchie style. I love that now he has because his movies. I'm like, damn it! I want to watch another movie because they're so. I don't know his style. I love his style of writing, his style of directing. It's deep but also superficial at the same time. So instead of just a movie, now it's a series, and each episode is like that.
Mobland. I think I've heard that's good or read it's good online.
Yeah, it's on Prime.
Okay, cool. I'll check it out. So is that
Nice.
it? Are we done?
We are done. We're at an hour and 50 minutes.
Wow, we came in under 2 hours. It's because we had to scrap so much of not scrap, but we didn't get as
Yeah.
much of the Betty Andreasson as I would have liked. Yeah, go read that book. I know I said it 100 times, but it's worth
Yeah, I'm going to download it. I mean, after we did like the Aztec UFO, I went and downloaded 2 books, and even went back to the original one, which is Behind the Flying Saucers by Frank Scully.
Hell yeah.
And such a good book, even in the 50s. And he's just making fun of the Air Force, and he calls them the Pentagonians, people from the Pentagon. And he just says how they lie so much and how they treat us like idiots. Nothing has changed since then. It's the exact same thing.
It's just pathetic, and it's just, it makes me sad for humanity that, the 80-10-10 rule, but that 80%, God, if they just woke up and realized how much our government lies to us, or was at least given, that's the other part of the problem is, I think a lot of people have woken up and realized that we're being lied to, we're being cheated, but the government has done this great enshittification of everything where you don't have the power to make changes. All we can do is talk about it and make podcasts about it.
Exactly. And they've always had an excuse before, they're protecting us, they're protecting the country. But then once the Soviet Union fell, they didn't have that anymore. So they had to do 9/11 just to keep that going, which increased even more. And there's always something as an excuse to keep the secret going because, man, it's made them so rich, so powerful.
Oh, yeah.
And just focus so much of that into just a small group. And they don't want to share it. That's what it is. They just don't want to share it.
Nope. They want us to put on the small hats and kiss the wall.
We might just have to do that one of these episodes. We'd be like, see? We'd be like, see? Yeah, I know. I can't.
If we ever get forced to do that, I will quit the podcast.
No, I hope it doesn't get to that. You get the visit by the rabbi.
Uh-huh.
He's like, we need to educate you more about Judaism and how we're the chosen people, and maybe you need to do an apology. What they call it, an apology tour when that happens.
God,
so many people have done that.
I know well, they do it for a lot of things. I'll still never forget when John Cena criticized China, and then like the next day he had to post a video of him speaking Chinese on his personal accounts.
He's a good guy.
I mean, I like John Cena. I've got no problems with him, but
do you know he follows like millions of accounts? I think he follows me even.
Really? Yeah. Well,
he follows everyone.
His social media manager does.
Good point. Yeah, people like usually.
You have to remember, all of Hollywood is, even when you see, can't quote unquote candid interviews or whatever with them, it's all an act. They're still acting.
Yeah, they're so
that's
true.
Why I'll never trust an actor or an actress. I remember I was directing a music video for someone that quite well, and this is years ago, and the actress that we had cast, she was really friendly with me, but I couldn't get over how much I didn't trust her.
You're kidding. Oh man.
She seemed nice, but every time I was like, yeah, you seem nice. And then I would go in the back of my head, she's an actress. She's supposed to seem nice.
Yeah. It's like when you go to a stripper and they're like, oh, I love you. I'm like, man, she says that to everyone, dude.
Well,
you're so handsome. I'm like, dude, you know how many times she says that a day?
Yeah, exactly. I don't have experience in that field. That's never really been.
You don't? Oh my god! No. All right, I'm gonna have to take you.
No.
Yes, I'm gonna do it.
I went to a strip club once for a bachelor party, and it was just. I mean, I was pretty hammered, but even in my hammered state, I was like, "This is fucking weird, man. I don't feel. It just feels gross,
Oh, it's totally gross. Yeah. Totally gross. Oh,
but I did. I actually, okay, so I take it back. I'm just remembering now. I did have a long conversation with a stripper. I did not get a lap dance or anything like that.
Okay. Like an intimate conversation.
Because it was a bachelor party, right? And we got bottle service, and we had this, like, it wasn't a booth. I don't know how to explain it. And so the strippers were, I'm assuming, were instructed to come and talk to us because, right, bachelor party, they're getting bottle service. The guys I was with had money, and so they were spending it like crazy. But I did end up sitting down and talking to a woman who was topless, and the whole time I was like, "This is so weird, man. I can't do this." But again, it was one of those things where
it would have been weird if you were talking about religion or something.
No. It was one of those things where I was like, yeah, this girl is pretty nice. And then I go, every time I think that, I have to shut myself down and go, she's paid to be nice.
Exactly.
But
they're usually in college, or I mean, and finishing up school. Usually, now I don't know if that's just what they say.
Yeah,
As a cover.
exactly.
As a cover.
That's probably something they say.
Right.
It was.
yeah.
I mean, I don't know. I thought it was gross, but I'm glad I did it once. I have no urge to do it ever again.
Well, good to hear. I don't see Vegas in your future. What about
No.
gambling? You like gambling?
No, I don't. I have a lot of addictions to things: nicotine, alcohol,
Right.
bad relationships. But I don't have an addiction to gambling, and I don't want to start because
That's a good one.
will affect me worse than anything else.
Oh yeah, it's pretty bad. I mean, I feel bad for those that just can't stop and have to
Yeah.
do it, and it is such a bad habit. It ruins relationships. It kills people. I mean, obviously.
Yeah, well, and the truth of the matter is, I don't have the expendable income to afford gambling.
Right.
I can't go out even, whatever it is. Okay, here's my $100 limit for the night. I
Right.
can't. I mean, I could afford that technically, but it's just, I mean, for God's sakes, I just bought.
It
land.
hurts.
I just bought land in Scotland, but when you go into gamble, it just feels like you're throwing money away. And I've
Oh,
done
it
it.
definitely is. It's burning money.
Yeah,
Basically.
it really is, and I'm not comfortable with that.
Right. I wonder if you reserve as a lord, if they'll give you like VIP treatment.
Maybe we'll try. Let's go to a topless gambling den.
Oh, there we go. Well, Hustler Casino used to be a thing.
Oh yeah,
is it still there? Maybe
I
not.
have no idea. I've never heard of it.
Yeah. Well,
Anyway.
it's off the strip.
Anyway, you guys know hopefully where to find us on social media by now.
Yes,
you can
but
find
maybe
us.
maybe personally you don't know, but our handles are right there on X. I'm Breakaway
Yeah.
Civil, and Topher's at Topher at all, and the podcast account is at UAP the podcast.
Yes, sir. Thank you so much. I have a need to know Adam for that.
Anytime, my pleasure.
I am Lord Topher, and thank you all so much for listening. And I guess we'll see you guys next week.
Yep, we'll see you all next week.
Message in the static, a shadow in the dark, a light against the stars, a podcast from afar. It's Adam and Topher, become in peace. Our hunt for the truth will never cease. It's the Uncovering Anomalies Podcast, where the truth is told until the last. Listen to our words and hear our voices. We can't save you, but present your choices. A message in the static, a shadow in the dark, a light against the stars, a podcast from afar. It's Adam and Topher, we come in peace. Our hunt for the truth will never cease. It's the Uncovering Anomalies Podcast, where the truth is told until the last. Listen to our words and hear our voices. We can't save you, but present your choices. We can't save you, but present your choices.